Grand Awakening Goddesses and Awakened Gods. It's your goddess here, Goddess Life, the people's goddess. I just wanted to come on real quick and go over briefly what I have been assessing for the upcoming total solar eclipse on this April 8th, Monday coming up. Also, we're having new moon in Aries on that same day. We are currently in Mercury retrograde and will still be in Mercury retrograde on April 8th. And so this is a lot of energy swirling around. Also, according to Vedic astrology, Saturn is in conjunct with Mars in Aquarius, which provides for us some very explosive energies. Also, the solar eclipse on that exact day, when it happens, conjunction will be with Jupiter and Uranus in the Aries zodiac sign of War. Now, the last time Jupiter was in conjunction with Uranus was 1940, and that was the onset of World War II. Now, this conjunction is giving energy all kinds of signs of an abrupt new beginning. This Jupiter energy, however, is providing us with positive vibes, mixing with this Aries energy, so there might be some chaotic energies that ultimately will yield to some spiritual epiphanies, awakenings, grand awakenings. So we should be mindful of that, be patient with each other, and kind of take this on as a grand reset. Nothing to fear, nothing to be afraid of, but Uranus does awaken energy of independence, rebellion, those who wish to free themselves from from those who wish to dominate the masses, right? But I feel like this struggle is going to be more internal, to each his own energetic reconciling. In other words, I feel like there will be some old belief structures that are going to be wanting to be released, as new belief structures are going to want it to be accepted at this time. It has a lot to do with everyone's own personal revelations, what I feel like was going to be on peak during this period of time. We're going to have some time and space provided for us to explore these realizations, internal investigation, and we'll come up with need to make sacrificial changes in one's own routines, schedules, way of thinking, even ways of communicating. I feel like this is going to be a really good time to release or sacrifice the feeling of loss or heartache, which is what's been disrupting many of us from evolving into a happier, more prosperous, wealthy lifestyle. Holding on to past hurts and holding on to heartache leads generally to becoming resentful and maybe even becoming cynical. But I feel like this era of grand awakening that we're being ushered into is to give us the opportunity to better ourselves without employing the tactic of fear. This is encouraging ourselves to become more self-disciplined, to become not slaves of man, but slaves to our own good habits that we will be wanting to form. This is the time we might come into the acceptance that procrastination is the killer of dreams, and it might provide a feeling of urgency for self-liberation in our current lifestyles, or whatever lifestyle we feel like we should be enjoying at this time. Going to give us that prompting, that urging energy to do it now, do it now. You might be receiving downloads or new ideas, or having some sort of epiphany on some project, business even, that you would be very good at, using your own God-given talent, skills that you can use to alter your lifestyle for the better, substantially. I feel like the Mercury retrograde is also another enhancing energy that's going to allow us to take a look at maybe past missteps without the burden of feeling that energy of despair and loss, but with fresh eyes to detect how things could be made better in the future. I mean, I don't feel like we'll be experiencing a literal 3 days of darkness, as science does not support this, but I do feel like it is, again, spiritual, energetic, as in those 3 days where the energy is most prevalent, like the day before going into it, the day of, and afterwards. It's going to have like a cloak over us, a cloak, imaginary cloak, right? Let's say that the magneticism of the event interferes with our electronics, our pads, our tablets, phones, even whatever. This is actually going to give us an opportunity to do things we don't maybe always get the chance to do, like journal or read a book or daydream even, or even just take a nap and dream. Like, I feel like there'll be revelations that will be revealed if you're willing to yield to this process and take advantage of the opportunity to really like go within and get in touch with what needs to be done on a personal level to promote ourselves to a higher standard of living. So that it's, just so you know, so it's not lost on me that with the wanting or the energy arising with Uranus wanting to, break free from dominating forces, basically, that leads closely to or is much like the idea of anarchy, which is defined also meaning the organization of society on the basis of voluntary cooperation without political institutions or hierarchical government. So one definition does mean something more like, chaotic, what most people associate with it. But pay attention to that second definition. And if you look back at the maps where the past solar eclipse path over North America has been established with this new one, yes, it does make an X. I do see that. I do know about all the Nineveh cities and stuff like that. But I can't help but notice it also makes that anarchy symbol, that anarchy A. So I'm feeling like, again, this is personal. This is going within. This is identifying each one to our own, by what standards, by what morals, by what values do we wish to uphold within our own minds and hearts, and that we may not feel like we're being, that we're being supported in our current state of living, right? And I feel like this is going to give us an opportunity again to carve out some time to decide internally, how are you going to move forward in your own life? And each one of us doing this provides a collective of people doing this, which provides a collective movement. But it starts with one. It starts with one's own self. And maybe we don't get time to think about stuff like this with all of the concerns of the day-to-day. Our current lifestyles, we're very busy. And often too busy to think about stuff like this. But I think that this time coming up is going to give us an opportunity to explore that each one for our own selves, right? Now, I do have to share, oddly enough, while I was preparing a week or so ago for this topic, I did have a strange interaction, right? And so I feel like all of my experiences are connected, and I do feel like the divine communicates with me in various different ways, right? Tarot is just one way that I hear from the divine through the Holy Spirit, but I do also get other indications, from my spirit team of communication and such from the divine itself in that kind of thing. So when I was doing my research a week or so ago, my phone rang, right? And I looked down and I looked at the number, and it was obviously like an international number. I didn't recognize it. I didn't know it. I don't have international ties. I don't speak to anyone internationally. So, this is obviously like a mistake or error or whatever. Or was it, right? So I answered the phone because, I'm nosy and I want to know who's calling me, right? And it was a Spanish speaker at the other end. Also, being that I am a numerologist, I like to pay attention to the numbers. Okay, so just stay with me for a second here. This call came through at 3:47 p.m. on the day when I was doing my research, right? There was a Spanish speaker on the other end, and so I like to take advantage of any opportunity to speak Spanish. It's good practice for me. And so basically the conversation was them asking for someone, and I'm saying, Guinness, who is this? And they respond, and I'm telling them, like it's the wrong number. And so it was just a really short conversation. That was all that was really said. But so then I look at the number, I Google it and everything like that, and I'm trying to find out, more about this call. This is very odd. So the call came from Mexico, right? It came from Monterrey, place called Nuevo León, right? So Monterrey in English means King Mountain, and Nuevo León means new lion. So I feel like this kind of goes along with what we are seeking to find out about ourselves and in the ability to change our own lives, right? And what I got from that is that each man is unto like his own mountain. That you could say that you're the king of your castle, same kind of way. I feel like each person is their own king mountain energy. And it is only up to you to know, your desire to what you want to bring out with using the energy of the new lion, right? This new lion energy is of courage and fearlessness, bold action taking. That's what I'm getting from that. When I added up the numbers on the phone number, it equaled 8, right? And we're also in the year of 8. And 8 is also equates to where we're in the year of 8, 2 plus 4, that gives us 8. And that's also the number of infinity, lifelong legacy building opportunities to build an empire. 8 is also for abundance. And so I'm feeling like this energy is abundantly supportive in providing resources that you are able to tap into during this portal energy. No doubt, this is portal eclipse energy, is definitely very powerful portal energy. If you tap into it, will yield you very abundant and successful results. Now, what I will say is that Monterey borders Texas, and you may know that there have been some border disputes. There has been a lot of immigrant activity at the Texas-Mexico border, and it's not lost on me that this eclipse is coming through Mexico, through Texas, upwards towards Canada. And so I feel like there's possibly something to that with the energies that are swirling, but not really anything specific revealed to me that there outwardly that's going to happen, like that we'll see in society. But we might take a look at the Texas-Mexico border. I don't know. This is only a speculation. But if I could give one prediction, if there is going to be something that's a little static going on, it might be at the Texas-Mexico border.